Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome dear students. This is a video for the subject of education, for the course of Bachelor's in Education and for the paper of Conceptual Foundations of Education. Here we are going to have a discussion on sociological basis of education. And in this lecture we will be discussing about education and social change. This video has been recorded by Dr. Iram Khan. The course coordinator and the presenter of this video is Dr. Iram Khan from Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. The academic expert and the reviewer of this video is Professor Jasim Ahmed from Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. This video is produced under the project DTH Swayam Prabha Channels of MHRD or Ministry of Education, Government of India. Hello dear students. I am Dr. Iram Khan, Assistant Professor at Institute of Advanced Studies in Education, Department of Teachers Training and Non-Formal Education, Faculty of Education, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. Today we are going to have a discussion on sociological basis of education, and in this lecture we will be discussing education and social change. So let us start the discussion. The objectives of this session are to delineate the relationship between education and social change and to discuss the role of a school and a teacher in bringing social change. Education fulfills the needs of society and it propagates such ideas which promote social change in all fields of life. It basically becomes, in a way, a social process by means of which society molds the children according to its needs and approved patterns of behavior. It is basically the very much allowing us to think of in a way that how education and social change are very much related. So let us just have a look on all those points which can be showing the relationship between education and social change. The first point which I wish to mention uh, is basically how the eternal values are perpetuated in the society and how these eternal values can be instrumental in bringing the social change. Basically, a society has some eternal values which stabilize and consolidate the society. In the words of Ralph Litton, he basically discussed this principle. He stated that whenever these eternal values lose their hold due to social changes, the society begins to decay and degenerate. So what he tries to mention that these eternal values should be there. They are the essence of any society. So in such times of crisis, education protects these eternal values, saves them from getting away or from diminishing, uh, so that social change can be brought, which can be shouldered by these eternal values. Basically, the promotion of the social change through the knowledge and the acceptance which is already there in the form of these eternal values can be done in a very proper way, so that in spite of the social change, people in general keep faith in these values. So in our society, such eternal values are of moral and spiritual nature. So basically, when we talk about religion, any religion has got a lot of enshrined values which somehow are unanimous. So you just take the ethos of any of those religions, you will find similar type of moral values which would be taught. So if we are going ahead and changing our society, we try to bring positive change, there should be some sort of moral values and these eternal values which should be there, which should be backing us, so that we can preserve our society in a better way. So education should protect, preserve and promote these values. The next point is promoting capacity to welcome and accept social change. Education basically propagates in the society both the materialistic and non-materialistic techniques. We have already discussed this, that what exactly is the materialistic technique and what exactly is the aspect which is non-materialistic. So basically, these things prepare the mentality of people to welcome and adopt desirable social changes easily and with an open heart. It may be noted that people will be welcome and they will adopt any technique or pattern only when they become convinced. And what this convinced thing means, that thing or that technology should be of some utility to them. It should be desired by them. It should be making some sort of positive change to them. Then only they will be easily accepting this technology. So education in this way structures a wholesome and conducive environment for these type of acceptances for the new techniques. Education basically brings out the applications. It allows us to know that what exactly the technology is going to give us, what will be the utility of this technology, and in this way it gives a kind of boost to the social change. How we can accept the social change is basically done by the means of education. The next point is evaluation of social changes. Evaluation. We are going to see that whether it is right or it is wrong. So a society is constantly under the process of transformation of various forms and nature in all fields of human lives, and we the teachers, by critical evaluation, determine the desirability or in a way how these changes are good for us. The teachers basically make an evaluation of all those things which are changing in the society in some way or the other, because they are in direct contact with the students who are the future citizens of our country. So in other words, we can say that education lays down the required standards and criteria of values which which basically provide a reference uh, to the process of evaluation. And this process of evaluation takes place very much effectively, and only after that desirable social changes are propagated, whereas the undesirable ones are discarded and they are not being adapted by people, because they know that this particular change is not good for them and this one is good for them. So they basically make a discrimination between the good and bad, and then they accept the good one and they discard the bad one. Then the next point is aids that coming of the new social changes. What exactly this means? Aids coming of new social changes. How the process of new social change is being aided. So education strives to banish social evils. How it aids? The first thing is it banishes the social evils, the blind customs and traditions. through various social reformation projects, political movements, social service schemes, and also tries to bring in needed social changes and reforms. So basically, education aids, or it provides a support system for the new social change. And in case we just go ahead and see one of the analogies, that in our country, the public movements, the agitations which have happened against the uh, remarriage of widows, or the child marriage, forced widowhood, or the caste insultations, then the untouchability, the sati pratha, and the different forms of social injustice resulted in desirable social changes. So we can see that all these uh, social, you can say that these are those uh, things which are very bad, and they were happening in our society, and there were a lot of social change and reform activities which happened in order to banish them from our society, and that was the right thing to do, because then only we can become an egalitarian society. So education has aided in order to make us understand that these new social changes are required. Then the next point is transmission of culture. What exactly this means? Through its function of transmission of national culture from generation to generation, uh, which is a continuous process, education basically lends stability and continuity to the society. And not only this, education prepares the society to adopt needed and desirable social reforms. So, in this sense, education can be considered as the creator, the generator, and director of all social changes. And we can say this just to make a kind of a concise statement, that education is a conservative, consolidating, and stabilizing force. And in addition, it is a creative force as well, which makes us uh, ready for bringing change into those things which are happening from a long time and which are not right to do, and to transmit all those type of sorted changes, or those changes which are very much required. Education makes us understand that this is required and this is to be changed. The next point is education promotes unity and integration, a kind of complete integration. When conflicts arrive, or they happen between various groups and different sections of our society, education comes in, and education tries to solve those conflicts by advocating different sort of thoughts and feelings, which brings about unity in diversity, the feeling of unity in diversity, and achieve integration of all. So education in our country has this sacred mission to perform, and by educating our people, our citizens, uh, basically we are trying to bring or to make them think alike. They should be thinking in a way that they are the citizens of this country, who is having a lot of diverse things, and unity in diversity is the ethos of our country. So any type of communal feelings, or linguistic conflicts, and regional discard, or any kind of trying to achieve some sort of dominance, is actually not allowed if we think in a way that everybody who is living in this country is having the same rights, and uh, every single citizen is having some sort of uh, rights, and a lot of things which are which are provided to them, and everybody has sort of same status in our country. So all these feelings can be enshrined into a person only if the person gets right type of education. So this is something which tells us that how important education is in terms of bringing social change. So while talking about education and social change, the next point can be maintaining human and social relations. Basically, in an industrial society, development of new techniques and devices very often lead to social laxity or disunity, or you can say a kind of discard among sections of people. There can be some haves and some not haves, because we belong to a society where the distribution of wealth is different. So education strives to maintain and consolidate human relations in spite of these social changes in attitudes and patterns of behavior of people. The next point which can be mentioned here is education of social changes. What exactly it means? Education employs various methods to promote knowledge and understanding among people about social changes itself, which are actually occurring in our society. So once the people will get aware, they get some sort of awareness of what exactly the change means and what exactly it is going to do for them, they will accept the change much more easily. So when the understanding of social changes develops, people gladly welcome and actively cooperate in all the plans to bring about a social change. The next point is the removal of obstacles. So various type of obstacles are there wherever we go ahead for making some sort of change or some sort of social change and reformations. So education informs people about their importance, the importance of these social changes and the desirability of these changes. Not only this, basically education tries to remove the mental reservations and the complexes in the minds of people, which basically are the obstructing factors in order to go ahead and accept the change, to make some progress in order to attain the change. So this was the next, and then we have got the other point, which is increasing the areas of knowledge. Education promotes in the individuals the capacity to increase their areas and scope of knowledge more and more for their own benefit. Education opens new vistas for deeper and deeper um, kind of investigations and researches, which bring about desirable changes in different type of arenas, in sort of material arenas and even non-material aspects of culture. So in this way, education prepares a ground for the advent or for the bringing of the social change. The next point which can be considered is the leadership role of social change. By making a promotion of social change, basically the democratic feelings and the progressive attitudes in our citizens, in the people of our country, can be inculcated. And education makes them capable to initiate and guide for needed social changes by basically making it a kind of successful attempt against the social evils, the customs which are evil in nature, and the blind traditions which are actually harmful for us. If we sustain them, they bring harm for us. So education makes us believe that these things are not that good to sustain, and we should avoid doing all these things. In this way, people become capable for realizing their own true personality to the full and promote social welfare to greater and greater extent. So education in this way, you can say that, prepares people for leadership roles as in a way in which they can contribute. They can be a social reformer or they can become the national builder in one way or the other. So it would be up to the person or up to the citizen that in which way this person is going to contribute in the process of nation building. But no one would be there who is not going to contribute. So this leadership role is also one of those arenas which can be the part of this social change scenario of most importantly of education. The next point which I wish to mention is the social importance of institutions, of different institutions of education. And once we start talking about the institutions, school is the foremost important institution which basically plays a very important role in the development of a child, in the growth and development of a child. So whatever we have discussed in the earlier lecture, we have discussed about the meaning and the concept of social change, and we have also seen that what are those factors which are responsible for social change and what are those factors which resist social change. And here we are discussing about the role of education in terms of social change, bringing social change. And whenever we talk about the role of education, the importance of school is very, very much there. We have to address the school because school as such is a social institution of very great importance, and we cannot ignore the schooling or you can say the life of a child which he or she spends in a school in the close vicinity of the teachers and other uh, educational staff or other people who surround him or her in the school. So let us see the different points which can actually let us let us understand that how school is very much important in the life of a human being or a person. So the first point is the relation with social order. Basically, the size, the form, the nature, and the organizational setup of a school depend upon the prevalent social order. But social order has some sort of aims, ideas, values, and traditions. The school tries its best to realize these ideals and values. And if we talk about all these things in a different way, the organization of education conforms to the needs and values of society. This means that school works according to the social order. Whatever will be the social order, we will find that the school is also taking it ahead, taking the ideas or the value system which is being led by the social order. The school will also follow that. So if social change occurs in society, school is bound to reflect the same change in its working and in its operation. The next point is influence of national policy. We all are having our new policy of education, the new education policy 2020, and we can find a lot of different revolutionary things which we are going to have in our future lives. So we can say that this national policies play a very important role whenever we talk about any level of education, and schooling is very much important because it is something which is going to make the foundation of this child. So the national policies have a very powerful influence on the school, and the school basically cooperates the in a very wholehearted way in satisfying the needs and aspirations of the nations of this nation, like any country. So whatever is meant in the educational policy is basically reflected in the schooling, in the school system, in the curriculum, in the syllabi, or whatever activities are happening in the school. The next point is the simplification of socio-cultural patterns. In our society, the socio-cultural patterns are varied and often very much complex. So in India, we can find different places having different traditions and different sort of socio-cultural patterns of life, which is unique to that place, but we believe in unity in diversity. So the preservation with the help of the schooling system of all these various socio-cultural patterns is very much possible if the school or the schooling system is going to help us out to actually maintain this the ethos of this socio-cultural pattern. So without school system accepting this varied changes in the socio-cultural pattern, it's not possible to actually take it ahead. So a school tries to simplify and categorize all those variety of socio-cultural patterns, and it preserves them for use and understanding by our children. So it's something which is very much important on the part of our schools. The next point is the development of capacities and efficiencies. A school is not only concerned with the preservation of cultural heritage, but it looks to the future also. So school is a place which can be considered as a futuristic place. And in if we try to explain it, school basically it tries to focus or to foresee the future needs of society, and for the purpose of meeting all these needs, it tries to develop more and more capacities and efficiencies to the individuals, to the children who are actually the part of the school. The next point is meeting the economic needs of society. How this happens? Basically, education promotes the economic efficiency of individuals who achieve their own economic prosperity as well as the prosperity of the society of which they are the part of. So we all are seeing that even in the new policy of education, we have got some sort of vocational education, which is the part of the schooling. And as well, we are making like with the regular schooling, with where there was no any segregation between the professional or the vocational or the normal schooling. Then also we are actually making our children very much equipped towards fulfilling their economic needs in future. So as the school meets the economic needs of individuals, it plays a very important role to add to the prosperity of the society. So if the schools are not making our children educated and equipped for the future work or job profile which they are going to attain, how the society is going to gain uh, or or attain the economic strength. So basically, schools are very much important in terms of making our society very much strengthened in terms of economic activities. The next point is the promoting of continuity. How the schools promote continuity. A school basically preserves the cultural heritage of society, and it also transmits the cultural heritage from one generation to another, and this basically promotes the continuity of society in a very effective manner. Basically, the curriculum or whatever is being taught from one generation to another, it is being taught to people, to children, and this maintains a kind of continuity of knowledge, attainment of knowledge, and with this the child becomes equipped in terms of understanding the outside world, the society. The next point is the contact with wide environment. How come this happens? Basically, the environment of a school is very wide and varied. Why? Because once the child is sent to a school, he or she is having a lot of relationships with the peer group, with the teachers, with the other staff of the school, and in this way, he or she is coming out of the family, a very confined environment where this child was only with the few of those known people. Right now this child is exposed to the society, to to different uh, elements of the society, and uh, In this way, in comparison with the narrow and limited environments of a family or the neighborhood, school tries to provide for a child a very wide and varied environment, and this way the child becomes a kind of diverse personality, and also a lot of activities and programs, a lot of different type of experiences are given to this child in the premises of a school, or even uh, outside the premises of the school, which makes this child confident and aware of the society in which this child is living. So in this way, it's very important task of a school to make the child very much uh, aware of the environment in which the child is living. Let us have a look at how education follows social change. What exactly it means. Education and social change are very much interrelated, or you can say that they have got a very intimate relationship. Education should prepare the background for social change. And not only this, education should also spell out the kinds of desirable changes needed by society and how these changes are to be brought about, how these changes can be made. So the way out, how to do that, is actually made possible by education. So for this, education should try to study and understand the various problems of society in specific areas from time to time, and should become the integral part of society, different arenas of the society and the process of development. So when education will assume this responsibility, society will grow more and more. There will be growth which cannot be restricted. It is going to take a leaps and bounds. The growth will be leaps and bounds, which will adopt the needs of the social change. But at times, if we just look towards what is actually happening, the picture seems to be a bit reverse. We see that instead of initiating and leading the social changes, education somehow follows the social change. How? When changes occur in needs, technology, and values, education also adopts itself to these changes. And if we try to explain it more clearly, education follows social change, and how it happens. Once we will discuss those points, which I have just and like mentioned here, it will be very much clear to you that how this point that education follows social change is actually somewhat correct. So let us just have a discussion on this. The first point, which is to justify this that education follows the social change, is that educational changes are because of social forces. Education changes because of different social forces. What are what exactly it means? Social aspirations, social values, and social dynamism are some of the social powers. When these different forces changes occur in the educational process also. For example, once the government changes, we find that a lot of the ideologies which the government, which is at present, or which is happen to be at that point of time, the ideologies which came with this government can be reflected, can be very much like seen in the educational system also. So in this way, we can say that education is not bringing the change, but education is following the social change, or the change which has happened in terms of following the social force. Next point is educational changes because of social needs. Social needs. The earlier was social forces, and now it is the social needs. So society has various needs which affect the process of education for the purpose of their own satisfaction. Now, the point is that educational changes occur because of social needs and aspirations, like the compulsory, free, and universal education, diversification of secondary and higher education, then adult education, or agricultural, or individual, or vocational, or professional and scientific education are the various forms and varieties of education which have been brought about by the needs of modern Indian society. So, in other words, we can say that whatever is the need of the hour, like at present, providing some sort of occupation, some sort of employment is the foremost need, which is being understood by the social forces. So uh, bringing a change in the curriculum where we are giving a lot of importance to vocational courses, and or those courses which are going to enhance the skill aspect of a person, and in future can provide some sort of subsistence or some sort of occupation, self employment kind of thing, is being added in the national policy, and it can be reflected very soon. We will find a reflection in our curriculum, in our national curriculum. So in this way we can say that the social need which is being felt at that point of time in which we are can be seen in the educational system itself. Now the point is that what exactly can be the next thing, and the next thing is that educational changes because of cultural changes. What exactly this means? There are many changes in education which occur just because of cultural changes. And it may be noted that first the material aspect of the cultural changes happen, as we have already discussed, and then the non-material aspects of the culture gradually change. So we can say that uh, when all these cultural changes occur, changes also occur in education. Like in today's scenario, uh, because of the pandemic, because of this situation, we have shifted towards online education. And when we shifted towards online education, the first thing was to provide some sort of equipment, the material aspect, to our children. Then only they will be in a position to take the online classes. And after we have given the basic equipment, then we started educating them through the online medium. And then we have seen that there are certain ethics, there are certain rules and regulations which we have to follow once we are providing them online education. So there are certain guidelines, there are certain rules and ethos which and the disciplinary aspect which is being added into the part of our system. Educational systems are also uh, propagating all these ethos, that once you are in an online class, what you have to do, what you not have to do. So all these things, the non-material things, the values, the morals, and the guidelines kind of things will follow. Once the material aspect is covered, then the non-material aspects will will be following all those. So we can see that here the educational change is because of the cultural change, and the cultural change basically can only happen once the basic needs are fulfilled. So this was something which tells us about that how education is also following some sort of the social change which is happening in the society. The next point is that how a teacher is important whenever we talk about social change. Teacher and social change are related as body and soul. How? We will just have a discussion on this. So, as the very thought of a body without a soul is impossible, in the same way, any social change without teacher is just a figment of imagination. It's not possible, basically. So, we should very much be aware of that teacher can initiate and promote social change only when this teacher knows fully and very properly the needs of society as well as the nature and direction of social change. So, in this way, we can say that social changes, which are of various kinds, the first thing is that the teacher should be aware of that what are these different kinds of the social changes which are happening. So let us just have a look that what are the various kinds of social changes. The first one is the evolutionary type of social change. The second is the wave-like. The third one is cyclic order. And in the same way, directions of social change are different, are various. So the prominent directions of social change are, the first one is even and the next one is uneven. So the teacher should become well versed in all kinds and directions of social change, and then this teacher should try to mold the process of social change in such a way that it is acceptable to all the people to whom this teacher is actually making some sort of influence. So the teacher should also keep in mind the fact that social changes are not even at all times. They can be different sort of. The demands will be of the society can be different. So this teacher must know the fact that social changes brought about by such cultural factors which are not acceptable to the people or another culture will not be welcomed by all people. So if a teacher is belonging to North India and this teacher has gone and got recruitment in South India, he or she should not forcefully try to apply the sort of things which he or she was doing in the hometown or at the native place, because now the the base is shifted and this society in which right now this person is working is having a different set of cultural norms and rules, or you can say the demands of the culture are different. So this teacher should be very much adapted towards the environment in which he or she is placed. So the plans and the programs of the teacher and the you can say the society uh, should change according to the needs and the designation, or sorry, the destination in which this teacher is placed. So in this way, when social changes are uneven, the educational changes are also correspondingly uneven. So at the same time, teachers should protect society from such unhealthy and harmful changes, and he or she should always try to bring consonance in the society in terms of seeing that what exactly is needed or what exactly is to be required to be done by from his or her side. So this is something which tells us that teacher is very important, uh, and this is the only reason why we provide a lot of respect and honor to a teacher in our modern society, and how important and how needed he or she is in order to educate the society, to make the citizens of any country valuable. Let us summarize what we have studied. We have seen the role of education and social change. We have also seen the social importance of a school, how a school is a kind of place which plays a very important role whenever we talk about the social and cultural changes, the development of the different capacities and efficiencies of a child, and even meeting the economic needs of society, and uh, in order to promote a kind of uh, unity in diversity, and make our future glorious, school plays a very important role. So we have seen it in detail. We have also seen that education follows cultural and social change. So, uh, due to different social forces and the social needs and the cultural changes, education follows social change. We also saw how a teacher is the most important person whenever we talk about social change. Teacher, because of this important role, should be very much dynamic, a person who is interested and who is concerned with the society and the changes happening in the society. These are few of those references and the suggested further readings which you can refer for more understanding of social change and the importance of education in bringing social change. Dear students, you are watching a video on sociological basis of education, and in this lecture we discussed about education and social change. This video lecture was recorded by faculty at home during the national lockdown period for COVID-19 pandemic using minimal technical resources. Technical errors, if any, are unintentional and may please be ignored. For any queries with regard to this lecture or broadcast, kindly send your email to techsupport@dth.ac.in. Thank you so much.